Hi everyone, happy new year. Hope you had like a really great good transition into the new year. So as I'm currently filming this, it's literally the 2nd of January. So I just thought let me just do like a little recap and all the books I read and the books I plan on reading in January. So last year I read a staggering number of 138 books. From the 138 books, I only read 15 physically. So I didn't actually read my goal for the read physical books that I actually wanted to read, but it was completely fine. And for the month of December, I read 17 books. A couple few of them that I was just like, wow, that was actually really nice. And I also had like a few books by the end of it that I was thinking those are definitely authors I want to continue to read their other works this year. So yeah, let's get started. So the first book that I ended up reading in January, or rather, sorry, December, was Zodiac's Academy's Cursed Fates by Coraline and Peckham. Honestly, the book was, when you're reading a very like early 2000s kind of like fae kind of like nonsense with every single one of them being just like insufferable in different types of way, and you're just thinking like this is kind of like a trashy drama that you just, it's a guilty pleasure. You do not like it, but at the same time it's just there. So I gave that 2 stars. I don't know, honestly, to me the entire series in a way I'm just like no, but I still end up reading the other books, which needs to be studied. Then I read Girls Weekend by C.M. Nacosta. I gave that one 3 stars. So basically, it's about these like three women who um, I believe, are all like elves, and so because of like they're it's quite boring in their life so far, so they end up going to like this orc village that is known for on the weekends, or rather during a certain type of season, or different types of monster women go into that thing and seek pleasure, and that's how every one of them ends up like having this entanglement with a guy that's there, an orc guy, and things go from there. It was interesting. Don't get me wrong. Not they are not necessarily like characters that you would say that you like, but at the same time they're there. So I give that 3 stars. Then I read Two for Tea, Welcome to Azadar by C.M. Nacosta. I actually enjoyed this one a bit more. I gave it 3.5 stars. It's basically about this one girl who moves back to her parents' house because of like she was not having it easy, so therefore she basically doesn't know what to do with her life. And then she meets this kind of like wraith being and has like an entanglement with the wraith being. So essentially she doesn't actually care much for what the person actually is, as long as she likes them. I think you could say she could be demisexual if anything. And it was a fun time because at the same time I was just like, all the other books that the author has written so far about like this one Minotaur, Mothman, and Wolfman, those are from a previous series from her. I didn't care for them because all the men were insufferable. However, this Wraith Shadow Demon thing, I was just like, ooh, I like him. That should be saying something about myself. I mean, well, moving on. I ended up reading this one here, A Portal to Pleasure by Viono on Neomo. This one, I enjoyed this book, to be fair. I ended up giving it 3.25. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but I think it's because it's also very thin, and that the story could have been a lot more, but I guess it was like a really cheeky like kind of novella. So basically found our main protagonist, who is, I believe, in set like she's in Nigeria at the moment, and so she obviously doesn't have like the best relationship with her parents, and so she's bought her new house, she's doing new things, and then she like kind of by mistake kind of summons a sex demon. Not really one, kind of three, which is like ooh, fun times, I guess. And so that is basically how she like is coming to her own like fruition, or whatever you could say that those type of things are. And she also has like a relationship with all three of the demon men, and it was fun. I don't know what else to say, but it was actually quite fun. And to be fair, like they were also endearing in a way, and like the polyamory that was going on in this, I was just like, ooh, okay. I mean, I'm not complaining really. So I do recommend it though. Afterwards, I ended up reading Odd Spirits by St. Gibson, and that was basically the prequel to like Invocation that I read last month. And I also enjoyed it because it was also putting in a lot more perspective to, because like in the next book, the first one, in Invocation, you're just like thrust into it, and there's like back damage between all three of the main characters. And now in Odd Spirits, you actually find out how exactly that came to be, and it's also coming to terms with like them like really getting to know themselves, revamping themselves, and everything that goes with it. I gave that one 3.5 stars. I actually still very much enjoyed it. I also read Wishful Thinking by Celestine Martin. I gave this one 3 stars. To be fair, I don't know. It was kind of like a very like, despite it actually being about like this merman and this witch, it was very generic. Did I still like it? I did still like it, but I didn't also think like I didn't really care much for the characters as much. I guess I don't know. I just didn't really care for the story much at all, because it was just like this like typical, oh, they could have been when they were younger, didn't happen, and then afterwards like there's like this like spell that goes awry, and therefore they have to do something about it. But it was okay. It was sweet, but yeah, 3 stars. I then afterwards read The Spirit Bears Its Teeth by Andrew Joseph White. I gave that 5 stars. I freaking love that book. So we're basing for our main protagonist, Silas, and so Silas has always seen himself as a guy, despite what he was assigned at birth. And so, based on an event that happens from the very get-go from the book, things go absolutely haywire when Silas is then sent to this like correction camp kind of like place where like young impressionable girls go to be like helped, because like apparently they have like veil sickness going on, because like within the world, the corporeal world and the ghost world is like there's a literal thin line that they can basically like hear you, and the people that tend up staying in the ghost worlds are basically those who were killed but at the same time killed unlawfully, or like they have some resentment that keeps them still there. So basically they are haunting people, and just a select few, mostly women, can see them, but like based on like having stronger heirs or sons, then it passes down to the male figure kind of thing. And so while Silas is there, like there's a lot of things happening, unraveling, and also coming to terms with like, because despite it going about like, obviously Silas is dealing with the fact that he's a trans man, but like people don't see him that way, but also him trying to grow into like understanding himself as a person, and the things that like, obviously me not being trans myself, I could still like kind of like relate to the stuff that he was talking about, but also seeing it in a different light, because like it gruesome, yes. Was there different types of thing where I was just thinking like, absolutely, what the fuck? Oh, I should not be swearing, but like that was how I was feeling throughout the book. So I definitely recommend it, and I will definitely be reading more of that author's storyline. And I know that the author is coming out this year, I believe in autumn, about the because this one was young adult, but I was just thinking like, wow, this is so good at young adult. Imagine them having an adult book and they're coming out with an adult book, which I'm just like, thank you. You get me? Afterwards, that was a bit of a rant, to be fair. Then I read Tempting Azud by Victoria Averlin. So far from all the books that she has done, so because from the Lacanian series, I actually quite loved Azud, even though like he was grappling with a lot of things to do with duty and how he sees things and all this type of thing. I really enjoyed this one because like this was him like finding, what's her name again? It's been a while actually. Her name, what was her name? Oh Lord, I have forgotten what this girl's name is. Alejandra. Yeah, her name's Alejandra, and so basically them having to tackle the bit of like kind of like what type of tropes would you say is this, like kidnapping all the way to like fake marriage kind of thing, and them basically going together, being in love, or whatever you could say. I did genuinely enjoy this. I'm not sure, this is not the best synopsis for the book per se, because every one of them has the same archetype, like one of the like Clacanian men falling for the woman that they are not supposed to like but they end up liking. But this one, it was more kind of like, I loved the characters more and Zazel more, because all the other guys are just like oh, everything I'll do for my human woman. I'm just like, oh please. Anyway, I then also read Parties by CM Nakosta. This is the second book to the ones that I just previously mentioned, and I gave that one 3.25. It was really I did like it because like it was going more nitty gritty, because the other one was just them basically going to like the city and getting blown out of their mind. If you know what I'm talking about, you do. This one was more to do with like them, like one of them is obviously getting married. The other one is basically coming to terms with like her like situationship of like with this guy, and this other one is like finding out that her other half might not actually be half elf, half orc. It might actually be something completely different, and then things go from there. And I then read the last one, the third to, because it's gonna be like a quartet. So I read an invitation by CM Nacosta, and it's going from the same thing that I just mentioned. Now it was really really good. I gave that one 3.25. Afterwards, one of the books that I really really enjoyed this year as well was Make Room for Love by Darcy Liao. I read this physically and I so enjoyed this. So basically we're following these two lovely women. So Isabel, our butch queen, and Mira, our trans, like she was such a lovely character, to be fair. So essentially Mira is coming out from or not coming out, but more like she just got off a very like horrible relationship with her ex-boyfriend and needs a place to stay. And so by how fate would have it, Isabel is right there and basically offers her, oh, you need someone to stay, come stay with me. But obviously both of them are going through their own types of like traumas and also like coming to terms with themselves, and different types of things goes there. But it really does tackles like the idea of like letting someone else see you, also needing help but growing to a better person that's as they are supposed to be. And it was such an endearing book, and I know for a fact that the author wrote like a book before this that the characters in those other books are in this book, and I'll definitely be picking up that one. I ended up giving this one here 4.5 stars and really enjoyed it, to be fair. If you can, you might as well read it, and it's sapphic, so I'm not saying anything more. Then I read This Fatal Kiss by Alyssa Yazinka, and honestly I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. So basically we're following our main protagonist, who is Roselka. So it's basically like in a way from East European mythology, where it is that basically these are young women who were drowned, so therefore they end up like, it's kind of like another archetype for like maybe saying siren or mermaid. And so she just wants to be alive because she's been dead now for like a short time period. She doesn't actually know how she died, so therefore she ends up finding out that from this one like other like myth saying that if the human boy or human man, whatever it will be, willfully kisses you without you initiating this, you can be turned back to human. So therefore she goes on this wild goose chase to getting some guy to like end up kissing her. And then there's also like the fellow warlock witch guy that is there, who happens to hate her guts but also kind of not hate her guts, and they're basically have a pact saying that, okay, if you can get this other pretty boy in this village to kiss me, I will help you with whatever. And then it goes for a wild goose chase, and I just thought it was so interesting. I wouldn't say that it was polyamorous per se, but it was giving kind of polyamorous thing, and there's like possession things that's going on within the book. I honestly just liked it because it was fun to read. I don't know, it was fun to read. It was YA, but I liked it. Then I read The Broken Elf King by Leah Stone. I gave that 3 stars. It was kind of like the one where the guy is basically has a vendetta, and she's a strong-willed woman, and things go from there. And I gave that 3 stars. It was good. It wasn't bad. And I then also read Only Dull People Are Brilliant at Breakfast by Oscar Wilde. It's just like a very very short book, and it had like little snippets of like quotes from all his other books. Some of them I really enjoyed, others I didn't actually care for. I don't know, maybe if I read an actual book from him I would actually like it more. This one wasn't bad, but like I don't really think that was something that I was just like, I mean I got it for like £1, so do with that what you will. It was okay. It was okay. Then I read Make Room for Love, the epilogue by Darcy Liao, and it made me so happy. They both went on like a holiday thing that was going on, and it had a happy sapphic ending, and they're getting married, and I hope to see them in a different book. That's all I would say. I gave that one 4 stars. And then the last book I ended up reading the year, which also like kind of blew my mind as well, was An Academy for Liars by Alexi Henderson. So we're basically following our main protagonist, Leonard. And so the book starts off that she's getting married only to find out that her ex-fiance is cheating with her, cheated on her with one of her friends. And she goes on a wild goose chase by just leaving the house. And you can tell from the get-go her relationship with her ex fiance wasn't even good to begin with, because like there was this power dynamic that was not even right. He was her professor, which I was like, girl, no. Why the fuck are you even going out? Why? Okay, everyone is different. Bear with me, but I was just like, ooh, not looking nice. So basically, she ends up having like this, going to this one place that tells her, oh, your application was okay. So now, therefore, she's now applying to go into this academy, which is specializes in the art of persuasion, but not in the terms of like the persuasion of just the mind, but actually being able to like persuade people with mind games and telekinesis per se, like not only being able to move things but also like move the wills of human beings. And things go absolutely haywire from there, because there's a lot of like deception and also like bad blood between other people. Like, what are you willing to do to like get ahead, but also at the same time the way like trampling and doing other different types of thing. And this book was so interesting to me, because like you know, when a book is more to do with like the characters, to me, I didn't feel like they were the type of characters that needed to be liked at all. Quite frankly, they were all horrible people. There was not a single one of them that would say that, oh, you're just a nice person. They all had baggage and they were all crazy. But it was so good. I gave it 4.25, honestly, and I regret nothing. Even though, quite frankly, Leonard, I was just thinking that, girl, no. Like, she definitely has a type for toxic ass men that happen to be her professor, which I was just like, ooh, honey, no. No. Just saying. So now we're getting to my favorite part of this thing. So these are all the books I do plan on reading this year. Whether or not, or rather January to be fair, whether or not I'm actually going to read this is definitely a different story. I mean, I just finished one right now, which is great. I'll talk about that in the next book review, like February wrap up, I believe so. No, the next January wrap up. So these are all of them. So we'll get through it actually. So the first, some of the books I want to read is The Lies of the Anjengo by Moses Ose Otomi. So this is the first one. I also want to read The Truths of the Alike by the same author as well. These ones has to do with like this one young boy. So the first one that I've gathered so far is about a young boy who, in order to save his mother and also the place that he's from, he goes into the desert in search of water, and it spans through multiple like generations, and the third book is coming out this year. So I was just like, it's a nice novella like type, and I should get through it very nicely. Then obviously this one I tried reading last month, I didn't. Is so I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hapman. And it's basically about these like women who are stuck in a bunker, and basically the insanity and different types of things that's going on with the women. At least that's like the little snippets I've gotten from it. I haven't actually read the book yet. Then just for the Cameras by Viona Oni Ome is basically about like this two couple who are sex workers, and they end up getting like this other guy, and I believe that it's going to be like a polyamorous relationship, and people have been raving about this book, and I just felt like, you know what, I love me some polyamorous romance. I don't know why. It's just like last year. It's just like, whatever. Then the next one I also want to read is Afterglow by Emily Antoinette. I basically got the arc for this like last month, but I didn't get around to reading it, so I ended up buying the book instead because I had the digital arc. And we will see. I know that this is sapphic and it's about this one human and a vampire, and I was just like, I just saw the cover and I was just like, yeah, we will get to you soon. I also want to reread, because I listened to the audiobook last month. No, the month before that, and I really enjoyed it. So basically, this is Angels Before Man by Raphael Nicholas, and it's basically how Satan falls from grace, and it's gay or queer, and there's a lot more to it. I don't know what else to say. This book is so good, even though it also made me recoil. Then another reread I want to do is the Encyclopedia of Fairies. It's Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Arthur Heather Pocket. And it's, as the name would imply, it's about fairies and different type of things. And this is going to be a reread for me. I already love the book already, but I just want to reread it again. Then there's also this one here. This is called The Gilead Story by Jules Gomez. It's basically about this one woman in the 1800s, and it's sapphic, and it's also, there's like a war or civil war going on. I don't really know much about the book, but you just had me at sapphic. Then I want to read Sweet Honey by Joan Vassar. And this is based in 1950s with this like one guy who is openly gay and moves to a different city while another one is kind of like hiding it, and there's a lot more to the story, but that's the only snippets I got. But I love me a self-published book. If it's self-published and I can afford to get it, I will be reading you at some point. Then there is A Diary of Blood by S.T. Gibson, and I know there's polyamorous and there's vampires, and those are the most simplest of things to get me to read the book, so I'm gonna read the book. And then the last one is also polyamorous. As you can see, there is a theme to this video. Like, do not ask me why. I just know that I was just like, let's start off the year with a bang. It's called Moonlight's Love and Witchcraft by Vilya Dinar and Mika. Is that Iliander 3? Well, it's this one here. I literally just found this on TikTok, and I saw the cover and I was just like, ooh, we got a buff woman, a smitten femme, and I'm not sure a vampire per se, because like one's a witch, another one's a werewolf, and one is a vampire. And I was just like, ooh, I want this so bad. I need to read it. I don't know if I'm actually gonna get to this one because it's actually quite a thick one. But yeah, that's all the books that I do plan on reading in January and my December wrap up. And how is your reading going so far? And besides the point of this, I will still say, like, thank you guys all so much for still watching my videos regardless. And we are slowly but surely growing, which is great. So thank you so much, and thank you so much for your support regardless. And we'll see how this year goes. And I do hope that this year is going to be an amazing year for you guys. So bye.